So Arsenal and Liverpool share the points, 2-2 at the Emirates. It's disappointing. You all know that I had real confidence that we could go and win this game, and twice we put ourselves in positions where we were winning, but they found two equalisers. Liverpool. It's a match report. We're going to go through the moments, the incidences, but there was so much that happened. So bear with me as I try and make sense of it, because I want to talk about performances as well. And I fear I might do that quite sort of sporadically throughout the match report. But let's get into it. Arsenal drew a game that, for me, I think you could, if you were making a case for why Arsenal deserved to win, you'd have quite a lot to go into. But if you were making a case for why Arsenal didn't deserve to win, I think you'd also still have quite a lot of evidence to get into. And what I mean by that is, I think the first 20 minutes, even though it was 1-1 and we scored in the 8th minute, I didn't actually think we made a great start to the game. I thought we were fine, perfectly okay in possession. Arteta's solution to the injury crisis was to go, the injury crisis in the back four, was to go for Partey with Timber at left back, who was fit to start. Partey right back, with White and Gabriel. And it was working. All four of them were fantastic in their individual duels. Ben White, who I thought was brilliant on the day, plays a fantastic ball over the top to Bukayo Saka. And Saka, who returned and was fit enough to start, what an unbelievable piece of skill there against Andy Robertson. Through the legs and then just rifles it into the roof of the net. Brilliant, brilliant goal, brilliant finish. He was my man of the match today. I thought he was the best player on the pitch. Bukayo Saka, along with, Partey was up there. Konate as well was fantastic. But I think Saka, for the goal, the moment, and everything he did, he was just terrorising fullbacks. We almost haven't seen that version of Bukayo Saka since the 22-23 season, where it felt like he had more freedom to express that side of him. But he was terrific. Well done, Bukayo Saka. And I wish I could talk more about him and his match-winning contribution, but it just unfortunately wasn't match-winning, which is why we're going to have to talk about other things in a bit more detail as well. Ultimately, Liverpool then scored from a set piece. Could we defend it better? Maybe. I think they've worked it well. Diaz flicks it on, and there's Van Dijk to nod it into the back of the net. Disappointing. It can happen. We got done on that one. But then what happened with that Marino header? I think I might do a video on it here on the Gooniverse. With that header that Marino scores, put us 2-1 out. There were just moments before where we'd gone long with free kicks and found Marino, and then another one where we actually whipped into the ball in a very similar area, very similar style free kick from Declan Rice, and Marino put it wide. So it's clearly something that Arsenal have been working on. It's clearly absolutely by design, right, that we wanted to attack set pieces in this way, and we pulled it off. Nicolas Jova keeps finding new things, which is great from an attacking perspective for sure. The rest of the half, basically Liverpool did nothing, if we're really honest, and we did spend a lot of the rest of that half essentially, Havertz put one over the bar, Martinelli could have done better with a shot, playing some really good football through the lines, but not quite asking enough questions of Kelleher. But I thought from a commitment perspective, tactical perspective, but also individuals really stepped up to the plate in that first half. I thought Marino and Rice were fantastic. I mentioned Saka and Partey too. I put them with the Trossard's work rate. It's phenomenal. Havertz's work rate, you can't question. And White did some great things. Now on to the story of the second half, where basically the only goal comes from Mo Salah. Now we'll talk about that. But Arsenal now are having to deal with more injuries. Gabriel's come off for Kivior, and I'm sorry guys, I do think Kivior's somewhat at fault for the goal that Liverpool get to make it 2-2. And I felt that we had dropped quite deep at this point as Timber goes off injured, and Lewis Skelly once again is the player called upon to come on and playing a pretty intense situation, right? 18 years old, he's up against Mo Salah. Basically his Premier League minutes have come against Mo Salah and Man City with 10 men, which is bloody interesting. But good on him. Shows a real faith from Arteta. I think, I saw some people were saying Arsenal got way too defensive in that second half. I'm sorry, over the years we've been called really naive. We had a lead to protect. I don't think we were completely defensive, like with no intent to attack. But you kind of got to realise the game state. Kivior and Lewis Skelly have now been put in a position where they're expected to come into the defence and maintain the game plan, which was to be really, really aggressive on Salah, really aggressive on Nunez, to step forward and try and muscle them out the game. Lewis Skelly and Kivior aren't going to do that. So for me, it doesn't make sense to go, well, it's fine, just get on the ball and play anyway. Because Liverpool are a good side who can, as they did with their goal, go from one end of the pitch to the other very quickly in a matter of 2-3 passes. That was a very Klopp-esque goal, I will say, the one they scored there to equalise. And I think Arsenal were right to drop Martinelli a bit deeper to protect Lewis Skelly. I think they were right to get Rice and Mourinho right in front of the back four, really kind of, really solid in front of them. And they did us. I mean, other than that, I can't think of too many other chances they had. I'm just chatting to a Liverpool fan. He thought they were poor. And I agree. I wasn't particularly impressed by Liverpool. The problem is we have to play the long game on this one, guys. We are 5 points behind Man City. That is going to feel very difficult to recover, but I think we can. Tough, very tough, but I believe we can. And we're going to have to make up 4 points on Liverpool. And I'm much more confident we can do that, not because it's a point less, but because I don't believe Liverpool. The thing is, the Premier League table reads as Liverpool and City on, 23 and 22 points, whereas we're with Villa on 18 and Chelsea on 17. Now, listen, we've got Newcastle away and then Chelsea away. It's a very real chance that we fall nearer that top four battle. But I don't believe we will. I think as the season goes on, we will claw ourselves back into that title race and being around those numbers. But unfortunately, that's the story of the table so far. It's you're nearer to them than you are the title race. But I believe we are in this title race. I believe today's performance showed that Liverpool fans, don't be upset with me. I think it showed that we are better than Liverpool. I thought we were the better team in the first half. I thought we had them on the ropes. And I felt that, we had basically, our fifth choice left back, our third choice left centre back, a backup right centre back, and a fourth choice right back, seeing out the game. And I said going into this game that I didn't want injuries to be an excuse. And there I am making an excuse. And at the risk of maybe sort of trying to say the same to myself, sound better, and I understand if you guys all accuse me of that, I do feel like there's a slight difference knowing who's available and preparing for that. Timber at left back, White moves to centre back, Partey right back. Yes, it's not ideal, but you've at least prepared for that. It's another losing really the other only really key players you then do have available, like Timber, and then of course Gabriel mid-game, and then expecting to be able to kind of deal with it really well against Liverpool at home. When I mentioned where these players are in the pecking order, it's a tough ask. And it was weird because as we entered into injury time, I thought to myself, I really want to win this, but I think we could lose it. 2-2 was probably just about a fair result, but I wasn't that impressed by Liverpool. And if there had to be a winner, for me, it was Arsenal on the balance of the whole game. But football doesn't work like that, does it? It's a point shared, and there we go. Now, a couple of things I do want to talk about. I thought, in general, Anthony Taylor had an all-right game. But I do think, as the referee, for anyone who doesn't know, I do think Konate fouls Martinelli. There's one angle where it looks clear as day foul. There's another where it looks like he might win the ball. So that's disappointing that wasn't kind of looked at a little bit more. To be honest, again, maybe we needed a third angle for something a bit more conclusive. It looked like a pen to me. But then the big one is why on earth they've disallowed that goal at the end. In fact, they didn't disallow it. And this is where Anthony Taylor, for me, is an absolute shocker. And this is where it really annoys me that no one wants to be dead honest about, no one in mainstream for some reason wants to be really honest about referee criticism. Because as you can see, we're 8 minutes into this and it's the first time I'm bringing up the referee. So I'm not trying to sit here and shout, we're robbed, we've been robbed, blah, blah. But he blows Kivior wins a header, for me, totally legally. There's a bit of an arm, but it's a legal header for me. Havertz then wins a flick on, although you could argue it's maybe touched his arm. His arm's in a totally natural position. It's quite close. It wasn't like off his hand. It was quite close to the body. Konate was there too. Again, I think that was absolutely fine. Now, if there's a reason to disallow the goal, it might be because Havertz has pushed, Trent into the net. I don't think there was loads on it, but maybe you could argue for a foul. And of course, Jesus puts it into the back of the net. But what really, really F's me off is Anthony Taylor blew the whistle. Not when Kivior committed the foul, but when he realised that Kai Havertz had won the flick on and Arsenal were in, and he's, nicked it over Kelleher. And then he goes, basically, I'm calling it as I see it. I think he's bottled it, Anthony Taylor. I think he's gone, let me blow for the whistle because I don't want to have to make a hard decision. It's easier for me to say, I thought that was a foul then let play go on and then wait and see and make a decision then in what is basically a huge moment in the title race. I think he bottled it. I rarely say that about referees. I've called them incompetent. I've called them, useless and arrogant and many things. But I think he fundamentally bottled it. Now, that is not me saying that it was a definitely legal goal, because like I said, maybe Kai pushed Trent, maybe it was a foul from Kivior, and we can all debate that. But I don't think anyone can debate, for me, that Anthony Taylor's had a shocker not blowing the whistle either immediately or waiting for play to go on. Because what he did is he saw the situation unfolding and he blew the whistle to stop play, because in my opinion, he didn't want to make a difficult decision. Tell me if I'm wrong, but that's how I saw it. My general thoughts as I wrap this up. Title race isn't over. Very disappointed not to win. I saw enough from Arsenal from a performance perspective, especially in that first half, to know that we are in this title race and we will rack up the results to claw up the numbers and be in this title race. But I think more than anything, I'm proud of the team's efforts and the work rate from an individual perspective. And I think when it came to the injuries, we were quite unfortunate. It's not an excuse, but it was something we had to deal with. And I think that's hard for most teams to deal with, that level of depletion across a very key area of the pitch. And we were talking about the defence when you're 2-1 up, trying to hold out one of the most lethal attacks in the country. But I do feel like there was something about Arsenal, I can't quite put my finger on it yet, there was something about us that was missing, especially in that second half. But genuinely my overriding feeling is proud of the efforts. And, it's reaffirmed that my belief that we're a good team. I think we're a good team. I think we're a very, very good team. We gave it a real, people will debate we gave it a real go, but I think in terms of effort and commitment, we certainly did. Anyway, I'll make more sense of it tomorrow for over Arsenal and sleep on it and see how I feel. But that's my general thoughts on the match report. Everyone, will leave it there. Man of the match for Kai Saka. Great to have him back. Give him a good week's rest. And now we really have to win at Newcastle and Chelsea. That's going to be tricky if we don't.